went online to become a private detective. It was a private detective school online, and I paid online. I never heard from them again. I thought to myself, I either got ripped off, or this is my first case. This is a journalistic podcast, Shannon. We vaccinate our listeners with answers. And I'm going to keep lip-syncing the important questions until TikTok gives me a show. Shannon, how can the moon landing be real if the moon itself is fake?
It's not true, Mike.
Oh, isn't it true, Shannon? You're fake. You're a hologram.
1 in 5 New Yorkers are food insecure. What's your solution for that, Mike?
Fortune cookie. Because that's food and advice at the same time. Shannon, at least have the decency to backstab me, okay? You stab me in the front every time. Some fans can't watch the podcast because they're triggered by our sexuality. And message to those fans, we will leak a sex tape right into your mouth.
This is Mike Vecchione Investigates.
And you're not better than me. Welcome. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Mike Vecchione Investigates. We were having technical issues all throughout the morning, but I think we're on point right now with the right camera. We are in the small studio, which I'm not going to take as a slight today. I usually do. I usually go crazy about being in the small studio. But and it's weird because today we have a guest who's too tall for this studio, and we had to rearrange everything around because of his height. But we don't have a problem with my height. So that's why sometimes it's better to be shorter for those of you keeping score at home. Everybody thinks that taller is better, but turns out in the small studio, or if you're in a confined space, being tall actually works against you really badly, and it really screws up the entire podcast. But this guy is here, and we love him. He's a West Coaster. And as many of you know, I'm not fond of people who live west of the Mississippi River. I don't respect them. But this guy is different. I see him every time I go to California and do a show. It's always fantastic. And Bronston Jones is here, everybody. Bronston Jones.
Hey, I'm glad to be in the small studio.
Thank you.
I feel bigger.
Thank you for fitting.
I'm a big fish in a small studio.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it. Now, Shannon is a heightist. She only loves tall guys, and she hates short people, doesn't think they should be around.
I get it.
And I get it, too. But the tables were turned on her because she's producing this podcast in the small studio, and one of her tall, beautiful angels didn't fit. And she had to do some quick rearranging in order to keep her policy of tall people are great and short people are dumpster fires.
You know what, though?
I do know what, Shannon. I do know what. Now, I just had some coffee for the first time today. I've been delaying coffee, so be very careful with your next words.
I will say that with his height, he's able to move his chair around very easily.
Because he can put his legs on the ground and dictate the wheels?
I can touch the ground.
God.
Without a ladder.
Shannon, you couldn't let me just have a win. You had to come back and go, oh, he's not disabled.
I have to defend tall people.
You have to defend the tall people against the short kings, which is what we've rebranded ourselves. Shannon. God, in your face, Shannon.
I really just...
Bronston, what are you doing in our... Let me get started off confrontational before you start trying to
Why am I here?
Yeah. No, not why are you just here. Why did you come to New York? What makes you think that you can put up your surfboard and your rollerblades and come out to this part of the country, the civilized part of the country, where we're not surfing and waterboarding and doing all kinds of activities?
I wanted to experience extreme heat with humidity and then get rained on immediately after and then have the heat and humidity seep itself through my clothes after. I wanted to feel what misery feels like.
Yeah, well, it's called tumultuous weather patterns in order to make you mentally tough. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you've read about it in your surf and sail magazines that you guys have for sale over there. Yeah, I'm sorry everything is not 74 degrees and there's a light breeze blowing off the ocean. I'm sorry it's not like that here. This is the concrete jungle. Let me school you a little bit.
Okay.
This is the concrete jungle. It's tough weather. It's tough people. It's public transportation. We're not messing around here.
Yeah, but see, you have the concrete jungle, but we have the song "Welcome to the Jungle," which is about Los Angeles, which is a much Guns N' Roses rules wherever they are.
Guns N' Roses. I'm going to turn this on you, and this is a gotcha podcast.
Oh shit!
Welcome to the Jungle is about Washington Heights, where I used to live. It's not about Los Angeles.
Yeah, but he was an Indiana boy living in Los Angeles. So what does he know about Washington Heights?
Because the story goes, I read the book, I'm Gonna Make You Bleed. I think that's the name of the book. But it's, they were dropped off or broke down in the George Washington Bridge, and they were walking through Washington Heights to try to get somewhere.
Okay.
And that's why they were like, welcome to the jungle.
It inspired them to leave.
It inspired them to leave. They didn't want to be, because that's a tough neighborhood up there.
I've seen you in Los Angeles. You're much more chill and relaxed there.
Well, I mean, when I'm not, when people aren't bumming cigarettes from me, which is what usually happens at Venice Beach.
Yes.
And talking to me about God knows what. People ask for a cigarette and then they talk to.
Yeah, they tell you their life story.
They tell you, that's like, it's like doing a podcast.
But they tell it to you in English.
Right.
And here they'll tell me their life story, and I'm like, I don't understand the words coming out of your mouth.
That's almost better, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, they're easier to ignore.
What is your purpose for being in our city?
Well,
Bronston?
technically,
why did you come here? To take our spots?
I've taken spots. I've hosted spots. I've dragged you onto stage.
Yes, but you've taken our spots from the comics who live here.
Yeah.
And do you look at that as like, ha, I got you?
I just look at it like if you were any good, you would have that spot. Why are they just giving it to me, some interloper?
Mm-hmm. Do you go to the beach a lot? Are you a beach guy?
I mean, I lived in Venice Beach for the longest times. But what happens
That's
is...
a weird area, isn't it?
I describe it for people who've never been. It's like you take the West Village, you put it on a beach, and then you drop a circus right on top of it.
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
I've been thinking about that for a long time.
I've been there a bunch to do your shows, and there's some characters walking the streets.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't feel... It feels kind of tumultuous there.
What's strange is like, because I've been, every day I'm here, I do something Californians don't do. I've been out walking all day, and no headphones, put your phone in your pocket, and just letting the city just show itself to me.
Seep into you?
And I realized that the people in California on Venice Beach, they're crazy, but they seem to have their crazy in check enough that it actually makes sense.
Right.
And here the crazy is so far gone that it's I wouldn't say scary, because, as a large person, nothing scares me.
Right.
But
as a giant, we call you giants here, and that's actually, we named our football team, who lost badly last night.
Yeah, we're not good at things. We're just big.
But you're a giant. Do you take pride in being a giant?
Are you writing that down for later?
I'm writing
You're
down
taking
giants,
notes.
and I focus on it. I write down a word, and I focus. I do mental. I'm doing like a hypnosis on you. I'm brainwashing you, basically.
You're
but
making
I'm
me
also,
feel like this is my therapist.
Yeah. No.
Just taking notes that are going to be put in a file somewhere that nobody's able to see.
I am going to refer back to this.
Okay.
This is a journalistic podcast. This is journalism that's happening. I'm doing journalism on you.
I went to journalism school.
Did you really?
I did.
Did you graduate?
I did. I graduated from University of Colorado School of Journalism. And the irony is the state of journalism now is they collapsed that school and just put it into new media. It was its own separate like college and the university, and now it doesn't even exist.
Is that school on TikTok now?
Yes, I believe so.
Boy, that would have got a horn if we had a right personnel in place.
Well, she was in here shuffling around like some sort of tiny person. Like
she
an
is
elf.
a tiny person. Isn't that right, Shannon? You got it turned on you.
It's okay for girls to be tiny.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is
adorable.
it?
It's adorable.
My whole problem with the tiny thing is that women and men should not date each other if they're more than 3 inches apart. That's my rule. So if a 5'6" woman, I'm sorry, it's COVID.
God's punishing you for
COVID.
this crazy theory.
It's still real.
Sorry, it's fake COVID. If a 5'6" woman dates a 5'8" man, that's fine.
Don't cry. Don't cry about it. It's going to be okay.
5'6", this is a math problem, dates a 5'8", that's fine. 5'6" dates a 5'9", that's the limit. 5'6" woman dates a 6 foot, it should be illegal. They should both be in jail for the rest of their natural lives. Natural life.
It's almost like he's a pedo if he does that.
Yeah, but it's the woman is consenting. We're big on consent in this podcast. I know you don't live your life that way.
Yeah.
But here in New York, consent is a big deal. So the woman is consenting and going after a 6 foot. So it screws two people. It screws the men who are 5'8" and who want to date a 5'6", and it screws women who are 5'10" and want to date a 6 foot. Do you understand what I'm saying? It screws people.
I understand, but
Thank you, Shannon.
That 5'10" woman has her choice of anybody.
No, she doesn't want to date somebody with Shannon's logic.
I said she has her choice. I didn't say she would.
That's not her.
She could choose to date a 5'6".
No, she won't. But she won't, because women do not like to feel bigger than their men. And we're going by evolutionary rules here, Bronston. I know you don't, as a cave person, you don't abide by evolutionary rules, which you should, because you are a product. You've evolved.
My issue is short guys, they get angry at me and they yell at me, and I'm like, stop blaming me for your ancestors' malnutrition. It's not my fault.
Well, what I do is maybe I'm a little different. I am nice to you, but I shake your hand really hard. I squeeze your hand as I'm shaking and make eye contact to let you know. It's like, I'm here, dog. I'm here.
I feel your presence.
God.
I can't see it, but I feel it.
Well, do you feel the Napoleonic? That was a good one. You nailed that one. You nailed me.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
It was like I was throwing punches at you, and in between the punches, you threw one at me, and it knocked me back.
It's the whole Muhammad Ali thing. Just you keep throwing at me.
You rope-a-dope?
Yeah. Sometimes you just take a couple to be like, it doesn't bother me.
You've got the dope part down.
Dude, there's more marijuana here in this city than there ever was in California in the history.
It smells like weed. Doesn't the whole city smell like weed
Every
now?
third shop used to be a deli and is now like a high-end weed shop. And apparently only 6 or 10 of them are legal. And the rest of them, they just shut them down. They just move it 2 doors over.
I don't even know what's going on. There's just vape shops opening everywhere. Is vaping the new eating? Because
yes,
of
vaping is the new eating. That's the new health loss plan. People are doing the Ozempic and stuff, and now they've just moved to vaping.
Ozempic. Can you vape Ozempic?
Sure. You can smoke anything. Just find the right homeless person, and they'll explain to you how to crack things up, what to mix it with. Boom. Ozempic in a pipe.
You look like a guy who could live on a boat.
Just from looking at you? I look like a guy who lives under the pier. What are you talking about?
If I was looking at you, I'd be like, that guy lives on a boat. You don't own the boat, but you're like the first
I'm the
officer.
I'm the caretaker for someone
You're the
else's
caretaker
boat.
of someone else's boat.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be terrible if you had to live on a boat and it wasn't a yacht, it was a smaller boat, and you didn't fit because you're too tall? Another drawback of being tall. You would not fit on a houseboat.
I would fit on a houseboat. I would fit on most power boats. I do not fit on a small sailboat. I actually considered living on a boat for a while, but it would have to be like a 45-foot sailboat for me to be able to walk around without smashing my head into everything.
Yeah.
Here's something you don't know about tall people is watch me go through a door. I will always duck under it because I hit a lot of doors with my skull.
I used to wrestle, and that was my move, duck under.
Duck under?
Duck under was a move. You hit. You have to be short to do it, though.
That just seems like just sort of a scared way to go through life. I just do the grab over.
Oh, you...
Yeah.
Don't you do the...
head punch?
Yeah, the hammer fist.
Mm-hmm. Actually, my main... I don't know if it's karate or if it's kung fu, but my main technique is the koala bear.
What's that mean?
What I do is I just wrap myself around something and just hold on to it till it falls down from the weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like lovemaking.
Yes.
Is that also lovemaking?
Consensually, yes.
Consensual lovemaking. But what do you think about my theory about the height? 5'6" can only date 5'9". 5'9" can only date as low as 5'6". If 5'9" dates 5'5", they both go to jail. If 5'5" dates 5'10", they both go to jail.
Does it have to be jail, or can it just be paying a fine?
Where does the money go for leg implants for the shorter people?
It goes for like human growth hormone. Maybe just nutrition. Maybe it just goes into feeding beef and
I'm into the industrialized prison complex, so the more I have stock in that. So the more people in prison, the better. I know everybody's
saying. Yeah, but who
that.
pays for that prison? It should be the fines.
Fine and how about a fine and prison
You
time?
probably won't like this. For 14 and a half years, I dated a girl. I'm 6'7". She was 5'4.5".
I don't like it at all, and I'm half thinking of throwing you off of this podcast for just saying it.
Well, we broke up. So
Thank God.
Fine.
Did she date somebody 5'5" after that?
She's actually married to a guy and has children with a guy. I think he's probably 5'6" or 5'7".
Okay.
Like he's a small guy.
Good. He's a small guy.
He's a good.
The smalls should stay together, and the bigs should stay together. Now, Shannon, let me go to you on this one, because I know you're over there brewing with opinions. So you're a woman who's 5'10". You're not your dainty self. You're a 5'10" woman, and you go to date somebody like Bronston, who's a 6'4".
6'7".
6'7".
Plus, but who knows fractions?
6'7" plus. So you're Shannon, let's go. You're 6 foot, and you go to date somebody like Bronston, who's 6'7", but he's dating a 5'4". Who do you get angry at there? Besides God.
Are you angry
Who do you
at
get
her?
angry at? Do you get angry at her?
me?
You get angry at this whole situation, don't you, Shannon? Don't you? Don't you get angry at this whole situation? Because he's 6'7", she's 5'4". You're a 6 foot. You deserve love too, and you don't want to feel gigantic with dating somebody who's a 5'6". You tell me I'm wrong. You look over that monitor into this timeout room that we're doing this podcast in, and you tell me I'm wrong.
Are you really 5'10"?
No, I'm 5'1". He's making up.
I'm making up numbers.
Oh.
This is an imaginary scenario. Do they have that in LA, or
Numbers?
do you guys just
Imagination?
No, imaginary scenarios? Do you guys have imagination?
Yeah, we
out
call
there?
them careers. We call them like projects we're working on. Those are what we make up.
Boy, the sun is really setting on this podcast.
This hypothetical.
If I
It's a hypothetical.
It's hypotenuse of a hypothetical.
Thank you for saying that. A hypothetical. See, journalism school did you some good.
It did me a little bit of good.
Even if it's closed now.
Yes.
It closed down. And what is it, a vape shop now?
It's a vape. Well, it's a ski shop. It's University of Colorado Boulder.
Mike, I have something to go against your theory. If you keep all the little people together, you're never going to get bigger people. So you have to kind of mix the heights up a little for there to be a chance of there to be more of the bigger people.
Do you realize that if I were to mate with somebody small, we would have an average sized child, and that's how you actually equalize the world. So you should be.
Who wants an equalized world? I want an army of small pygmy people. That's what I'm looking for. An army, and neither of you guys seem to be on board with that. The shorts are our own race of people, and we need to stick together, and the talls can be their own race of people. And we'll see who wins during an apocalypse.
Okay.
That's a challenge, Bronston, and I'm not and for those of you who can't afford a computer, I'm making eye contact, and you have beautiful blue eyes.
You're pretty.
I have
you look really big for a little person.
Well, it's because I'm on this high chair that Shannon props me up in. I'm sitting on 8 phone books. That used to be a
From
thing.
the 80s.
That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting on 8 iPhones. God, this better make a clip, Shannon, somewhere. Okay?
Are there going to be any clips in there?
There's a lot of clips so far. We're making comedy gold right now.
I just did put a star next to that last thing. It starred.
Star of David, right? For our Jewish fans.
Do you have Jewish fans?
Absolutely. The Jews love me.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Palestinians do also. I'm actually
you're
the
making
one thing they
peace.
do agree on.
So you kind of want the talls and the smalls to sort of be like
segregated,
like the
separate but
Palestinian
equal.
state. Like,
Brown versus I'm bored of this education.
and so in your mind, when a tall gets with a small, it's sort of like the people who are setting up settlements in Palestine.
Yeah. I
You're
don't
like,
know.
I want it separate.
I want it separate because when people go outside of the scope that I laid out, outside of the 3-inch rule, 2 sets of people get screwed. And the people like you who date a 5'4.5" don't care. And then you walk around going, oh, but love dictates. You can't choose who you love. And it makes me just want to take a baseball bat and hit you in the knees. How are your knees? Have you ever been baseball batted in your knees at 6'7"?
I have not.
Because that's how I would come at you. I would take a bat. I would be like, hey, what's up, man? And then crack right in the knees.
But what if
then it brings you down and you'd still be taller than me. That's the sad part.
Yeah. Even in a wheelchair, I would be taller than you.
Even in a monster truck wheelchair. What's your ethnic? Because you have beautiful blue eyes. And I'm starting to like soften. I'm coming after you still for the fans.
Well, you are
the fans-
height appropriate to date me.
Oh, You would date somebody. You would date somebody like me.
Yeah, I totally would date
You
somebody
piece
like
of
you.
trash. Are you dating somebody now?
No, I'm not. I'm homeless right now, dude. Why would anybody date me?
Well, maybe you could stay with them.
No,
And
that's
you
why
flip it?
I would date them.
Yeah, date them and be like, I'm between domiciles.
Yes, so
Right now.
if anybody's looking for a house guest, I'm available.
If anybody's looking for some grade AD and also a house guest,
It's proportional.
yeah, everything is proportional.
Yeah.
Do you find that to be true? I've heard.
I mean, I don't know if it is for everybody, but that's what I've heard about me. So that's all I can go on.
Word on the street.
Yeah, I haven't done.
You guys have streets in
we
Venice?
have a lot.
Word on the beach.
Yeah, word on the beach. Word in the skate park.
Yeah, it's a big skate park. There's a big rad skate park vibe that you guys have there.
Modern skateboarding was invented in Venice, and I broke both of my arms on a skateboard. So that's how good I am at Venice.
Yeah. Did they also invent chiropractors?
I don't know where
Because
that
you
was.
need one after a skate accident. You know, I met Tony Hawk this weekend.
You did?
No. I was with Bert. I did Bert's podcast, and then he was kind enough to invite me to Oxnard. He had chosen Oxnard. He's like, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably going to I got to go to Utah tomorrow. And he goes, just come to Oxnard. Come to Oxnard and do my shows. So I went and did it, and then Tony Hawk was there and hung out. He's such a cool guy.
All you're doing
He's
is shitting
so
on
cool.
California, and now you're talking about Oxnard, which is
Yeah,
a
because
shitty part of California, and how awesome it was because Tony Hawk
Well,
was there.
yeah, when it's celebrities, yes, it's celebrity. Being with celebrities is great. It makes up for everything.
You know, I
that
like-
transcends regions and geography.
Also, Tony Hawk is too tall to skate, yet he's the best at it ever.
He's the best skater, and he's an unbelievably nice guy. I thought it was a comic when he walked in, but I was like, oh, it's Tony Hawk. I don't know. It was unbelievable.
Do you skate?
I don't know anything about skating. I don't.
So you just
I
like
think
the
have
fame
to,
part. You
at
don't even
my
care.
age. Can I finish my damn thought, Bronston? We're having a power struggle here between a 6'7" and a 5'8", and you're about to get Napoleoned. Is that a phrase?
Sure.
It should be, Shannon.
It means I'm going to get gas and hold my stomach the whole time.
But do you have any leaders? Do you have before we get to the Tony Hawk thing? And I'm writing it down because I don't want to forget it because I'm name dropping. That's what it's called. Well, you're in LA, so you get
Yeah.
this. This is most of
names are just surrounding me.
this
Like,
is most of your comedy. Name drops.
Yeah, I exclusively talk about famous people. There's really I don't understand why other people would talk about like
I think
their
that's
lives.
actually how you do comedy in LA.
Oh yeah. As
Name
much
drop.
as you can talk about other celebrities and how awkward it was that you're at their party, but that you're at all of their parties.
Yeah. So we're gonna get back to Tony Hawk's.
Yes, Tony Hawk's.
Tony Hawk, which is different than Lincoln Hawk, who was the character in Over the Top. That was Sylvester Stallone when he was arm wrestling. He was a truck driver and arm wrestling, and his evil grandfather was trying to take his son away. And he ended up, final scene, spoiler alert, show's been out since the 80s, if you haven't seen it. Stallone, Lincoln Hawks, drives his truck into the rich grandfather's mansion and picks up his son.
Do you remember? Because I know you like to work
Burn.
out, right? You work out.
Yeah, you're looking at my body. You
I
make
see
your own conclusions.
I see it. I mean, I understand when you're small, you want to look like you're bigger. But what I'm saying is, do you remember in his truck he had?
Yes,
the,
he was doing the exercises.
Yeah.
He was doing the
Well, yeah,
forearm
pull down. Would that be
exercises.
what muscle does that work?
It works the forearm. But you know what
No,
I
because
have?
he wasn't doing curls. He was doing.
Yeah, but that's the whole motion.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I questioned your physiology.
Don't ever
expertise.
question me when it comes to workout stuff, Bronston. I'm deadly serious about working my body. But I do have tennis elbow.
Does it take long to work a little body? Damn it!
Shannon, stop giggling at him.
I didn't wanna laugh.
You know what? I'll just lay the joke out that he did to burn me. Takes a shorter time to work out a smaller body. And if you think that's funny, you got a lot of problems at home. It takes a longer time to work out a shorter, smaller, tiny, more compact body.
Because it's smaller weights, it's little tiny things. It's like, did you see the Barbie movie?
Shannon, can we put this on pause so that I can get coffee?
I'll get you coffee.
Okay.
I'll just leave it on 2 shots.
But what if I say something that needs a horn while you're busy getting coffee?
I know that last one really fried me out. It just was, my God, I've never been so humiliated on my own podcast.
Just in life when you walk around.
Well, yeah, I'm. Now you're going too far on me. But the thing about being
I wasn't
smaller
sure
and
how to
having
do
a
this podcast, but I
smaller
get it
workout.
now.
Are you getting it?
Yeah, I get it now.
You don't come at me. The fans hate it when you humiliate me, and that's what you're doing. You're humiliating me.
Make sure you follow me so you can yell at me online.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put the what's it called when you give out the address?
Hashtags or something?
No, I'm
Lower
gonna
thirds.
dox you.
Oh, dox me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
you can't-
blow up your spot, and then I'm gonna send my army of people.
You really can't dox me because that's giving away my home address, and I'm not kidding. I don't have a house right now. I
But
live
you-
wherever I am. All my shit's in storage. I'm just traveling around.
If I just lived wherever I was, I would be like, I'm a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm present. Having a home is pretentious.
I think it's
Make it religious.
the most Venice thing I've ever done was just to give up my lease and just be like, I don't know where I live. I'm just wandering.
I had a joke about the real Venice, not the fake Venice where you live, where it's all the streets are all in water, so it would be hard to be in a gang. They're like, I'm gonna go over there and kill that guy. It's like you have to swim over.
Yeah. Then it would be like that guy in
All right, the joke was
Montgomery.
doing pretty well on stage, by the way. No one gave it anything in this podcast, but this podcast is a bunch of haters. God, Shannon.
called haters?
You know what? Shannon's mad at me because of my 3-inch rule, and she's mad at me. And you're mad at me for different reasons, but she's mad at me for the 3-inch rule, and she's not even saying it.
I think a 3-inch rule is pretty sad. As somebody with 8.
Mike, that would mean I would have to date somebody 5'4". That's like not even an
Shannon,
adult man.
Shannon, I'm spilling stuff on the
I'll get you paper towels.
Can I have a paper towel, please? Clean up in the small studio. I guess make an announcement to the Bronston. Oh my God, Bronston's doing it.
I did it.
He did it. He has his own.
That's what Talls do. Is I have a Costco in my back pocket.
No, that's his mortgage. Thank you,
It's
Shannon.
my
Just in
blanket.
case it happens again. Shannon, can you be my mom? I think I would love it if you were my mom.
It's like she just swoops in.
She swoops in and saves me
She
every
comes in real
time.
small.
She swoops in every time and saves me.
So yeah, so if I were to date a guy who's 5'4", that's like that's not
No.
acceptable.
Yeah. 'cause
Why
he-
is it not acceptable?
'cause he'd
You're
be in
5'1".
third grade.
You're 5'1", and yes, Shannon would do well with a third grader.
What does that mean?
Okay.
Shannon likes it basic and aggressive. A third grader with ADHD, that's what Shannon needs.
Yeah, no
Who's headed
Ritalin.
to prison?
You're not getting back on my good side, Mike.
Shannon, I'm sorry, but I'm just giving you facts. I'm sorry if you hate facts. Is that a thing on Twitter?
Yeah, I think it's
Facts. That's like a phrase that people say.
facts.
Facts. Oh, this is getting worse. Is this thing leaking? I don't know, but we're having some
I
problems
think it
here
is
in
leaking,
the
yeah.
studio.
It's leaking.
Oh, it's not my fault, Shannon. It's could you give me
another
another
cup and put it in it?
Can I have
used to
another
wait
cup?
tables.
This is a problem-solving podcast. This is solutions.
I hope we get all of the clips are on this busted cup.
I mean, this is a busted. Thank you, Shannon. It's a joke cup.
Mm-hmm.
It's a prank cup that magicians use.
Ah, you thought it was full. It's empty.
What were we talking about? Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk.
So he was like the sweetest guy ever. But I'm not. Did you ever skate?
This smoke break is brought to you by YoDelta.com, the official Getting High sponsor of the Gas Digital Network.
Imagine that you're skating if you're with
not-
that kind of height.
Not
Did
a
you
lot,
get a lot?
but modern skating was invented in Venice, so it's
Yeah.
sort of everywhere. Like
Right.
literally, it was invented in Venice.
But what's
Santa
with the
Monica.
lifestyle of skating? I think it's because no one lets you skate anywhere. So you guys freestyle and like skate at the library, and then some old man comes out and goes, "This is not for skating. This is for reading." And then they're like, "Screw you, old man."
Yeah.
And it's like that punk is like, "I have a tattoo on my forearm of something, you know, like of a
do you have any
Irish
tattoos?
cross." No, I don't have any. I want to go to heaven. How am I having tattoos? I want to go be with Jesus. He doesn't like that. He doesn't care for it.
Okay.
Even if it's a tattoo of Jesus, he sends you to hell. You would think he's a narcissist. He's more of a like, oh, I'll give you a pass if you have a tattoo of me. But he puts you in hell anyway.
The worst tattoo I've ever seen, I have a long bit about it, but I'll explain it. It was a little J, a little E, a big tall S, a little U, and a little S. So it's Jesus in the shape of a cross, and it was a tramp stamp.
A tramp stamp,
Like-
Jesus.
Like right above her little butthole was Jesus' name, and I was like, I don't think that's where the Lord and Savior's name belongs.
Right. But he did make all of her, so actually,
Yeah, I
he could
guess
go anywhere.
he can go.
And aren't you
anywhere.
guys big on graffiti and chaos?
Yeah,
in
I
Venice?
we love graffiti.
But why is that whole lifestyle like that? It's like a punk, it's like a skater punk, which is kind of like what, isn't that what Legion of Skanks is? Like all the fans of Legion of Skanks, it's like a punk skater, outcast, against the rules,
Anti-authoritarianism.
Anti-authoritarian. Where even if the authority is right, which is like, hey, you can't skate here. It's like, I'm gonna
It's
something, get back at
libertarianism
you.
without any information.
What does big government got to do with it?
That's just they don't want anybody.
They don't want anybody ruling anything.
Yeah,
Chaos theory.
freedom.
Freedom. But freedom to do whatever you want. But
Yeah.
Some freedom is bad. Like, you need rules at some point. You can tell by my haircut, I like rules.
Yes.
But your haircut is... Your haircut
I even have
actually
it
inspired
back.
me to get a haircut.
It should. It should inspire you to fix your life. I was a morning Manny for the last year, no joke. And this is what the kids woke up to every day. And at first I was like, their mom must be crazy.
You're a man nanny?
Yeah.
A male nanny?
Just for breakfast for this last year. That's how I lived rent-free the last year.
How can you be a breakfast nanny?
Because you only have to get up for an hour. So I can get up at 7:30 to 8:30, get them off to school, and then go back to sleep.
And you lived with the family?
Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, how irresponsible is this woman that I'm the responsible one?
Right.
And then I realized it's probably for the kids. They would look at me and be like, I'm going to stay in school so I don't end up like Bronston.
Was she 5'4"?
She's probably 5'8", but we weren't dating. She was she was way less than the 3. I dated a girl once who was 5'5", and I did it just because it was funny to me.
You did it for the laughs?
I did it for the laughs because she was so I'm 6'7", she's 5'5", and she's like, oh, I'd go on a date with you. Like, she's trying to be funny. I go, let's do it, but only if you wear heels. And so she wore 3-inch heels, and so she was 6'8" in heels, which is odd to look up to somebody.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was how tall?
She was 6'5".
Oh my God! So you went on a date with her, and you two giants.
We dated for like a week or 2 weeks, and it was funny because she's also like, I'm proportional. You don't really know how big I am until I'm right next to you, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And she's the same way. So from a distance, we just look like normal people.
Right.
And where we went on our first date was John Lovitz used to have a comedy club at the Universal City Walk.
Yeah.
And Universal City Walk is a big like Latino, like Mexican American hangout place.
Right.
So everybody in there is like a little bit taller than you.
Right.
And as we'd walk up,
You would impose your will. The both of you were
would
like
just-
superheroes who got
you would
together.
just hear like, oh, Dios mío,
Yeah.
es muy altos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest pair of whites. Did you ever think staying together just for the height of it? The imposing your will on people?
No, I didn't, because I didn't enjoy the sex because she could throw me around, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
You had
here.
sex in a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why it only lasted that long, because I was just like, all right, now that we checked the box, let's move on.
Yeah. Apparently you checked the box. And then you moved on.
It was a big box.
It was a big Was it bigger?
I don't know, because I was pinned down.
Yeah.
I wasn't, like, it was very surreal to not have any
Power.
power.
But don't men like that? Having the power taken from them?
Yeah, that's small guys, because they know they don't deserve it.
Now, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to turn it around on me. But I think some guys, and it has nothing to do with height, are submissives. Are you a submissive or are you a dom? And dom's my cousin.
Dom Herrera?
Not Dom Herrera, I wish. I love Dom Herrera. Dom Herrera is a legend.
He is a legend.
He is a legend.
Jesus, don't.
No, he is a legend.
Oh my
That's
God.
what I said.
I've been out of LA for 3 weeks. Did he die?
Well,
I heard it here first.
Well, let's go back to name dropping.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tony Hawk hung out. I hung out with Tony Hawk in the green room, and
Yeah.
Bert was so cool. And
I like that you name drop Bert with just the
Bert,
first name.
I named dropped Bert, and
With the first name only.
I also did Ryan Sickler's podcast, The Honeydew,
Mm-hmm.
which was a great one. More name dropping. But,
Can I be honest, 100% honest?
But Tony Hawk wasn't at that one. But he might have been outside skating.
Sickler's is the only comedy podcast that I listen to, like the comedian run.
Well, ours was a very serious
It's always
episode.
serious. That's why I like it.
Yeah. We get to the bottom of stuff. Not like this one where you're threatening me and then I'm threatening you and then Shannon comes
Oh, were you
in.
threatening me? I didn't feel it.
I did.
I didn't sense
You
it.
didn't sense it at all?
No.
I'm not so much threatening you as I'm trying to set you straight. because you're like skewing off into your like,
Awesomeness.
trying to like slam me and dominate me because of your height. And Shannon's like right there for it because Shannon's a heightist and you're a tall, so you guys are on the same team. And you're shrinking down.
Would you prefer?
No, I want you to stand.
stand.
I want the best version of you, so I can chop you down. God,
Okay.
this has become confrontational.
I like
and
it.
we're friends.
Are we?
Yes. Every time I go to Venice, you greet me and we hang out a little bit. And it's you have a great show that you run.
I did. That died with pandemic. Kind
But
of.
it's back, isn't it? And you tell me that.
I've just I did a going away for myself
Right.
at the venue, and it was awesome. It was amazing as anything else I do.
It was the show was always very good.
Yeah, it was fun.
But it was not like the easiest audiences. They could be tough sometimes.
It was as close to a New York show as we could get in LA.
Don't
Like, just-
compare. Please don't compare.
No, I said
your
as close.
C-town,
As close.
Your dirty sea town to New York City. Please do not come here and do that. For the love of God and my fans who are watching, they will throw. Their lives are already going bad. They're
They're watching you. It can't
No,
be
I
great.
mean they're mostly homeless too. So they could probably relate to you more. But if you make fun of New York City, they will flip on you.
I didn't make fun of it. I was saying we were almost as
Don't
good as it.
compare. Don't compare your little sea town to New York City. We're number one, dude. We're number one in population. We're number one in growth. Buildings. We have bigger buildings than you.
Their skateboarding sucks here.
Does it?
It's not good.
Well,
there's a
me
skate
and Tony
park
Hawk.
in the park 2
The
blocks
next time
away.
I see Tony Hawk, me and Tony will talk about it. That's not for you to talk about, Bronston, unless you did skate. Did you skate?
Did you get his number? Should we call him right now?
Look. I met Tony Hawk, and we talked. Okay.
You
So-
talked with Hawk?
I talked with Hawk. And he
Back-
has his own podcast, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but I would call it Tony Time.
Tony time.
Tony Time. That's a good name.
You should call him now. And you should text him with that name.
Tony Talk with Tony Hawk. That would be a good
Tony
name.
time. Talk.
Tony Time. You have to say it like I'm saying it. Tony Time.
Tony time.
Tony Time.
Tony
And then
time.
you do the whole podcast in a New Orleans accent. Tony Time. Tony Time now. Tony Time. No one understands what you're saying, but everybody tunes
gonna go
in every
skate.
week.
We're gonna go skating. We're gonna do stuff. This is more Alabama, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
I
don't do
Tony
accents.
Talk. Tony Talk. Anyway, did you skate? And can a 6'7" skate?
I did not skate, and I skated so badly that I broke both arms in one fall on Venice Boardwalk.
How was your health insurance at the time?
Oh, my health
If you didn't
insurance
have a
was
home, I imagine.
unbelievable.
You had a great health insurance?
I used to have a real career and a real job, and I decided to become a comedian and threw all that in the shitter.
What was your job? I should be getting to know you.
I used to produce direct lot of commercials, music videos, that sort of stuff.
Oh, my
So
God.
I lived on.
You were
like-
behind the scenes?
Yeah, behind the camera, making shit
Behind
happen.
the hand, but tall enough so everybody could see you?
Yeah. And as a tall person, you can tell everybody what to do. It just comes naturally.
Yeah, and
they
people listen to you.
Yeah.
People listen to you, not like me where I have to wear platform shoes and scream.
And use a megaphone.
But also yell. Like, do you find that smaller people have to yell more?
That's the only way I'm going to hear them because there's a lot of distance.
Because of the troposphere and the stratosphere?
The air's thinner up here. It's great.
Yeah, do you like that? That's a good joke. How are things up there? How's the weather up there? That's my favorite one.
I go, it's raining, and then you spit on them. That's the 10.
Oh,
that's
my
the 10-year-old
God.
answer to that joke.
You spit on shorter people?
Well, that's what tall children would say to that child joke that
Right.
you gave us.
I'm sorry, please do not make fun of my humor. I'm doing good. My career. Anyway, I was talking to Tony Hawk, and
What were you guys talking about?
he said, I know you from somewhere. I said, could it be YouTube? Because I'm pretty hot on YouTube. And no, we were just, it was there were more people in the room.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you were next to a conversation that someone else was having with
I was
Tony
an
Hawk.
ancillary part of a conversation that Tony Hawk was having with three
In
other
Los
people.
Angeles, we would call that an extra.
Oh, no. In Los Angeles, you would call that networking because I was trying to corner my way into the conversation. Oh, my God, I have syphilis. I I was trying to angle my way into the conversation, not knowing anything about skating. You know how hard it is to talk about something you know nothing about?
Yeah, that's why I don't.
Yeah, but I do because I have to do networking. And I go, what kind of board was it, dog?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, what kind of board?
And he
Isn't
went,
it like
and he
what
went
kind
like
of
this.
board?
He goes, "It was my board," since he makes his own.
He has
boards.
his own brand.
Yeah.
And but it's like that's a radical half pike. Is that something?
It's a half pipe, but yeah.
Half pike. That's a half pike. What's a pike? It's a fish.
A pike is something you do in diving when you touch your
But it's
toes.
all nautical, dude. It's it's all stuff.
It's all water and falling and jumping. I get it.
I realized something recently.
I think you should talk more ground sports.
Well, he's not a ground sport guy. He's a wheels sport, and obviously these skateboarders take crazy chances. You broke both of your arms.
Yeah.
And that taught you never to do that again.
He broke his back in one fall, so you probably just he knew for like a couple months while healing probably what it felt like to be small.
But I mean, what sport do you take up when you're healing from a skating accident?
Laying in bed.
Yeah, but when you learn another language, it's like I did skating, I broke my back, 3 months in bed, now I know Spanish. Wouldn't that be a better evolution to know Spanish and to have that backstory and be able to explain to somebody in Argentina about that? Wouldn't it be a great evolution?
Esto es increíble. Es posible si quieres.
Do you know Spanish?
Sí,
and is that the story that happened? You broke both of your arms and you learned Spanish and now you know it?
Sí, sí, sí. You need Spanish in Los Angeles. It's useful. I think you'd be useful here.
But isn't
and Chinese.
But isn't Venice just low-income whites who have given up their life to surf
and
skate
until the tech people came in
and borrow cigarettes and then ask for a light?
It's all about bumming cigarettes and discussing the waves.
Yeah.
You need to understand because the weather doesn't really change, but the waves do. So you don't have to. Is it going to be nice tomorrow? You're like, yeah. You're like, is there going to be good swell tomorrow? Different question.
Is there a good swell?
Yeah.
And speaking of swell, I hurt myself skating. And I'm really swollen.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have to know those terms in order to live in Venice? Is that on the test for the city ordinance in order to become a citizen of Venice?
It's the driver's license test for California. It says you need to know certain things like what rad means.
Right. Isn't rad like an 80s term? Because that was around when I was
but the driver's license test is old.
Oh, rad. But do you guys still say tasty waves?
Sure.
It's tasty, dog. Tasty.
Tasty waves.
And that means the waves are good.
Yeah.
But what if...
like tasty waves out here, I don't even know what that would be.
No.
You got to have chill vibes. You need chill vibes on the East Coast.
Yeah, because everybody's so intense out here and stressed out because we don't have a way to get it off.
Dude, no town has needed weed more than New York City.
New York,
This place is so tense, but I feel like it's even more tense. People get weed and they just get paranoid and angry.
Yes. Yeah. You're not wrong.
Not about
You're
much.
not wrong, but we like wear that like a badge of honor. Like you
Anger?
guys, yeah, but you guys could not live here. You guys couldn't move here and survive. We could move
Is that
there
a
and
challenge?
be fine. All we'd have to do is learn how to swim and say different beach catchphrases.
Mm-hmm. You have to learn how to like just when an earthquake happens, just be like, did you feel the shaker last night?
It's a shaker?
Yeah, it's a shaker.
And you guys rate your earthquakes. That was a 4.1. That was an 8.1.
Yeah.
It's like a scale that you rate them.
Yeah,
One earthquake.
it's like a hotness scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but they do feel different depending on how
Is
the
it
earth
everything?
moves.
Is everything in America's Got Talent for you guys over there?
It is. If it's not if we can't quantify it, what's the point in having it? To know, like that's the only way to know if something's better than something else. Like if something's like 5'8", it's not as good as something that's 6'7".
If I were you and I had nowhere to live, I would have. It's important to have a backstory. People love.
Well,
backstory.
don't forget, nowhere
Can I
is
just
also now here.
Well, can I also suggest it to you before you cut me off? Bronston, I'm sorry, but I had to get confrontational. The fans love it when a 5'8" is confrontational with a 6'7" and has no fear, which I think is a brand of surfboard.
No fear,
No
yeah.
fear.
It's a brand
no
of
fear.
it's more shirts,
It's a shirt. Okay, well I knew that because of
clothing. It's apparel.
I knew that because
It's merch.
I knew that because of branding. Anyway, what was I saying? I got sidetracked.
Tony Hawk was telling you something.
No, that was way back. God, Shannon, where was I? Are you listening, Shannon?
I am listening. I got so involved in the tension between you guys that I also forgot what it was you were talking about.
I just wasn't paying attention.
I had something.
Was it something? It was some sort of advice that you were going to give me about where to live.
Backstory.
Oh, a backstory. Thank you, Shannon. Just when I think you've slipped off the edge, you come wailing back. If I was on the West Coast and I had nowhere to live and I was doing a morning nanny job, and I had nowhere to go, and people asked me why, I would say I had a great house, but it got lost in a sinkhole.
Ooh.
Yes, the sinkhole backstory saves you.
Yeah.
From being a guy like, oh, you don't have a house? What are you doing with your life? What mistakes have you made? But can we get to the bottom? What mistakes have you made? I mean, that's what you tell people in the outside world where it's like, my house I had a great pad. You guys call it pads?
Sure. It's
I had a great pad. I had a great pad.
Killer pad.
A killer pad. I had such a killer pad.
Up in the hills.
Up in the hills. And there was a boat. I had a boat attached to it because of the sea. And it just we lost it in a sinkhole.
Yeah,
Is that a good thing?
Like a whirlpool. What do they call it? The big things that used to swallow up giant ships. Mermaids would come out. I could say
no. A sinkhole is the earth, the foundation. It just swallows your house.
Oh,
and no one can prove that you didn't. No. You have a boat in the house that got sucked into a sinkhole.
Dude, if I had a nice house, my boat wouldn't be at the house; it'd be in the water. Nice boats don't good on trailers. I know you're not a boat person.
I'm not a boat person.
And you can fit on a small boat that fits on a trailer.
And I'm not a boat person, and I'm not a skateboard person. There's a lot of things I don't know. But I do know, the things I do know, I know really well. Okay, but so sinkhole is a great, did you ever think of telling people that you live?
I would say a mudslide. Like if I was in California, I'd go an earthquake triggered a mudslide, and then a wildfire ate it all up.
That's 3 disasters in one.
We had our first hurricane too. And during our hurricane
now you're
2 weeks ago,
confusing the person, and they know you're lying because you're saying too many things. If you just stick with the sinkhole, no one knows that much about a sinkhole. It's like, oh, the earth swallowed my house. It's like, that's basically the gist of it. It's simple. It's clean. You're not saying too many disasters where the person goes, oh, you're obviously lying. You just have your house swallowed. Is that the right word? In a sinkhole, and now you're homeless.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my advice.
I would rather go with I lost it in a lawsuit. Intellectual property.
Yeah, but your wife took it then.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't your wife have to take it? And then if that's puts women off because they're like, oh, you were so bad in a relationship that your wife took your house.
No, but she left me for a celebrity.
Tony Hawk?
Yeah. That guy. That's why every time you bring him up, I've been getting a little bit angrier and angrier.
Right.
Because
Tony Hawk knows how to skate and you don't.
Yeah. And isn't that stupid? And you're like, what was some sort of childish thing he does for a living?
Isn't that amazing that he does a childish sport, but he's made millions? He's the best guy at doing like a teenage sport.
He's literally made over $1 billion because of the video games.
If I was, I would need to have health care in order to skate because I would be so worried at 50.
Would the health care be for your body
50.
or for your brain because you're so just anxious and tense?
No, I'm not anxious. Why would you make that assessment? I'm not anxious and tense. I'm doing journalism. You're saying I'm anxious and tense. You're mistaking anxious and tense for journalism. People make that mistake all the time.
I think you're mistaking journalism for just hating what is your life.
It is my life.
Yeah, it's yours. You should love it.
I do love it. What is this? A meditative? This is a California.
If you don't love it, why should anybody
podcast.
Else?
Are you high now?
I did take an edible earlier. Should I not have done that?
Is that the breakfast of champions in California? Edible it up, dog, and let's go get some tasty waves. I'm sick of it.
Dude, there you go.
I'm sick of it.
You just passed the driver's test.
God, I hate it. And that's why I was out of a fish, literally a fish out of water when I was on the West Coast.
You were literally a fish?
Literally a fish out of water, which is a term they should understand on the coast.
It seems very figurative to me.
One thing we both have in common, the East Coast and West Coast, is talking down to the middle of the country. Do you enjoy doing it?
I would if I wasn't flying over it.
Is that what you call them? Flyover states?
Yes, they're flyover states.
Flyover states.
Mm-hmm. The only reason to go there is to say get money from them for telling them horrible versions of my great jokes that I would tell on the East or West.
You have to dumb it down for them?
Yeah.
How do you start the joke? Duh! Is that how you start?
What I do is, they always say, like, imagine that the audience is in their underwear.
Right.
I just imagine that they're all under 5'9".
Oh, my God, that's a burn. I imagine they're all in their underwear and that they all have suspicious moles.
Oh.
Yeah, because they need... suspicious moles can take you down at my age.
I saw a woman who was walking towards me today. The one thing I will give New York City is that everybody's out on the street, so if somebody's beautiful and it's hot, they're not wearing much. And she was walking towards me, and I was like, "Ooh, she's beautiful." And then she had two like odd-shaped moles on her, where I'm like, "Oh, she needs to get those checked out. She's gonna die."
Yeah.
Which in California, we're very
there's-
aware of skin cancer.
Do you have a mole person?
I do not have a mole person.
Well, I want to have a mole.
Is that what you call little people?
That's the double meaning, Shannon. But wouldn't it be great if you had somebody remove your moles, but then also give you a tattoo?
Yeah.
Is that a job? It's a mole removal person who gives you a tattoo in the place where you had double mole. Because if you get a mole, and then it's like I've heard this with people, where they get a mole removed, and the doctor goes, "I can't remove it because there's going to be a scar." It's like, I'd rather have a scar.
Who would say? What doctor would say I'm not going to remove?
Because
something?
it's got its roots. I mean, I guess moles are like trees. It's got its roots too deep into your spine or foundation. So it's like it'll leave a scar. It's like, well, let it leave a scar. Scar is like, I'd almost rather have a scar than a tattoo, because the scars are badass. Because you could do any backstory you want with a scar. Like if I had a scar, I would be like, my house got sucked into a sinkhole, and I was trying to save it, but I couldn't, and I was holding onto the chimney, and it cut my whole chest open, and now that's why there's a scar there. I have to work a sinkhole into the story.
I actually had something removed from my skin on my back, and it left like a cardioid scar for a while. You know, the ones that are sort of raised. And people would say, "What's that on your back?" And I told them it was a gunshot wound. But it's
Really?
it's finally gone flat. But it was like one of those, like, it was just awkward, weird scar.
You had a scar on your back.
So actually, I do understand this mole man describing
Backstory. Having a backstory is the key to life, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you don't really have a real story.
Yeah. What's your real story? Why are you homeless? You're successful. Obviously, you're very smart and articulate. And I'm looking at you now for an hour, so I'll just say it. Handsome. In a rugged kind of way.
Yeah, it's
in a
gotta be
guy who
rugged.
lost his house kind of a way.
Well, after the sinkhole incident, no, it's just that I had these free places to live for 2.5 years, and I came to the point where I have to go spend money to get a lease, or I could just put my stuff in storage and go live wherever I want.
Right.
Until I decide where I want to be. Which could be here, it could be back in California, it could be Colorado, it could be Texas. We'll figure it out.
Do you consider yourself a gypsy? Aren't those nomadic?
Yeah.
Are you nomadic?
Yeah, I think I feel like kind of like a plains person from back in the day.
Yeah. But in today, you would be a hobo.
A hobo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to ride the
Charming
rails.
hobo.
I'm going to put all my stuff into a sack on a stick.
Yeah.
And then jump on and off trains, which is harder now.
Why?
Because containerization is how we've transferred shipping globally.
Mm-hmm.
So the container gets loaded in China, gets put on a ship, comes all the way to Los Angeles, gets pulled off a ship as a container, is never opened, put onto a train, and then brought to the Midwest. So you can't jump in and out of those the way that you could the old cargo doors. And if you were a hobo, you would know that this globalization of containerization of our international goods has ruined my ability to travel around the country for free.
How did you find this out? Hobo Weekly? Is it like a magazine?
It's a Facebook group.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. So you love the freedom of it all. You could have a home. You could have a high-paying job, but you love the freedom.
I had a high-paying job, and I decided to become a comic and threw that in the garbage. And unlike most successful stories, like the comics who are at it for 15 years,
Yeah.
they become huge. It's a second business called stand-up comedy.
Right.
And I, on the other hand, have just stuck with it and didn't quit and go back to my day job.
Right. You refuse.
Yeah, because
But
usually
isn't that where success lies? It's like after everybody writes you off and you're sleeping on a train, and that's when you make it big. Then
I believe
isn't that what happens?
I'm hoping that's what happens because we're at the point where I need it to happen.
Yeah.
I think it might be this podcast. I think this might be the one.
Will this send us into the into like stardom?
I think
Would
it will,
one of these clips magically make it? Do you think?
I think the littles will see me and realize I should be their leader, and my new fan base will be nothing but littles. Would that annoy you if I took
It
over
actually
the littles?
strangely doesn't annoy me that you're calling us littles.
What were you calling them earlier? Shorts? Mole people?
No, we were
Smalls.
Smalls?
smalls.
Talls and smalls.
Oh, the
Smalls and
littles.
smalls.
The littles. I believe that was a children's book about little tiny people who lived in a mouse hole.
Yeah, because you can't discount the tiny people.
Do you
We've
remember
strengthened
Micronauts? Did they have those when you were a kid?
those. No. I had bed bugs, and I was pushed out of my apartment because of bed bugs. So they're very small, and they're vicious, and they stick together.
How
and just
small
like
are
smaller
they in a
people.
child's bed?
In a child's bed?
Yeah, isn't that what you sleep in?
I sleep in a race car, thank you very much.
Is it a Matchbox race car?
You can't just win. You have to rub my face in it. You have to rub my nose in it.
It's a little nose.
Do you want it's a button nose.
Oh, that's totally what you have.
Yeah, no, I have a longer nose. It looks like it's been broken. I was around children for a while, and they were like, I was teaching, and they were like, "How many times did you break your nose?" I was like, "None." And then I told them to go to timeout,
And
which
then
is a small space, which is where we're doing this podcast.
This is the timeout room.
This is the timeout studio of Gas Digital. There's something else I wanted to ask you. Kids, do you want to have them? Do you want to have, because you mentioned getting with somebody tall in order to have giant kids, or getting with somebody smaller in order to have regular size kids?
I don't.
No kids?
I actually enjoy kids. Not don't clip that. Kids are awesome, but they're also little pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't create another human being without creating another asshole.
Well, no, if you raise them the right way. Ever think of raising them the right way?
Yeah, but you don't know.
Yes, you do know. You don't think you have control over how you raise a kid?
Yeah,
teach them manners. Teach them. You bring them up with love, and you
You've never
raise
met
them.
somebody. You've never met somebody amazing who was a piece of shit brother or sister, and then you're like, "How are you in the same family?" And you realize the same parents raised them the same way.
Yeah, but the same parents were at different stages of their life when they raised them, and there's.
Or maybe
I know. I think that's the exception. I think it's more likely that you raised all good kids, or you raised kids who weren't all good. People don't want to take responsibility for stuff. I think that's the problem.
Well, maybe that's the thing is I take responsibility. Therefore, I realize I shouldn't have kids.
You shouldn't have them. Did you get a vasectomy?
No,
Oh, so you're just going to risk it?
no, I have Planned Parenthood. I believe in them strongly.
Okay. Is that where you live?
I support them. I live wherever I am.
Okay. You're just, what is that? What kind of religion is that? Where it's like, I just am wherever I am. Is that Buddhism?
Sure.
Is that,
It's actually
I am in the present
Hare
moment?
Krishna. I will
That's
tell you.
something.
I will tell you what is weird. That park over there has Hare Krishnas in it, and we don't even have them in California anymore. I haven't seen one in 15, 20 years.
Is that where you sleep?
Yeah,
In the park?
they'll take you in, but nothing but vegetarian food.
And the skaters wake you up in the morning?
And then you go out with them and get a hot dog.
Hot dog is like the homeless, that's like the homeless cuisine.
Imagine we're sort of like seagulls. Whatever's there, we'll take.
Yeah. Scavengers. Scavengers that's an underused word. Well, no one ever thinks about scavengers anymore.
Did you ever
I guess
think
you
about
do.
this? I was watching this as this homeless guy was going through someone's trash and pulling out all the recycling, and I realized that their
Was that guy you?
Yes.
Okay. Keep going with the story. I'm
And I
sorry.
realized that my carbon footprint was much lower because it's a negative footprint because we're recycling as homeless people. Then the people are just making trash.
Did you learn that from your journalism degree in order to flip something negative into like you're a hero?
No, that's more.
You're a climate hero because you're not living anywhere.
It's the California version of stand-up comedy, whereas New York guys, you will look at something that's beautiful and make it ugly, and we'll look at something that's ugly and make it beautiful.
What's an example?
You guys shit on everything, and we lift everything up.
You're a better society.
And we do act outs.
You guys do act outs. You guys do act outs. I will give you that. 59 minutes in. Bronston, this couldn't have been more fun.
It could have.
How? We had everything. We had people. I was the protagonist and you were my antagonist, and Shannon like got involved also while simultaneously saving the day with napkins and coffees.
I had a napkin.
You did save it with a napkin.
Thank you. Thank you for your compliment.
This has been educational.
Look, your little paper there is just doodled on and has dirt on it like a small child. Never mind.
It's called I'm Working on This Podcast. That's a worked out podcast where I'm taking notes. I'm remembering things, even though I forgot, Shannon. I know you're going to say it. And Shannon, you brought me right back down to earth and you reminded me of what I was going to say because that was a good one, whatever it was. And, yeah, I got to go to the bathroom.
Is Tony Hawk going to be there?
Let me go to the bathroom real fast.
Okay, we
Can you have time?
Yeah.
Where do you have to go?
Was it, you have a little bladder?
I have a tiny bladder, and I have to go. And this was my first coffee of the day. That's why I'm unstable. So we're back now. Should I have said that?
Yeah, that's good.
You're back now.
I'm back
I was
now from
here
the
whole
bathroom.
time.
Your bladder is bigger. That way you can hold more liquids in it. I had to go to the bathroom because of a tiny bladder. Care to comment?
I also just pee wherever I happen to be.
You pee because you don't have a home.
Yeah.
And no home is 0 bedrooms, 0 bathrooms.
Yeah, everything is my bedroom. Everything's my bathroom.
You go to the bathroom on the street?
I go to the street.
The street is your bathroom.
I don't understand this concept of rooms.
God, that's really great. It really is freedom.
It's freedom.
It's freedom.
When you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose.
That's really wow. That's like. Do you live by Fight Club, the Church of Fight Club?
I can't talk about it.
Okay.
I signed an NDA.
That's great. The first rule of it is that you don't have to talk about it.
My first rule is you don't have to talk about it.
Okay, let's do plugs right now. Are you ready for plugs?
Hair plugs? I have a full set of hair.
Okay, guys, I'm Mike Vecchione at Comic Mike V on all social media platforms. MikeVecchione.com for dates. I don't know when this is coming out. We have some backlogged, but check my dates. I've got to update that. Atlanta Punchline, September 15th through 17th. Huntsville, Alabama, September 21st through 23rd. And then Comedy Mothership in Austin, September 29th and 30th. I will not be at Skankfest this year. So those 3 dates, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas coming up. So come and see your boy in Atlanta, Georgia, Huntsville, Alabama, or Austin, Texas. Please continue to support this podcast. We really appreciate you. I just did 2 podcasts in LA, Ryan Sickler and Bert Kreischer, who are friends and kind enough to have me on. And I promoted this podcast on those big podcasts. So please like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys commenting for the algorithm. Thank you. And we do the best we can every week for you guys, obviously. The best you can do for the low-income whites who watch the show. Watch my special. It's gaining. It's weirdly... it was on the Nateland homepage and still is with 1.4 million, called The Attractives. And now it's on 800 Pound Gorilla's page, and it's at 300,000 on their page alone. So watch on Nateland, watch on 800 Pound, watch the special, and I appreciate you guys watching and commenting on it. So dates, the podcast, the schedule, that's really all I have. Thank you guys. So I'm massively appreciative that you guys tune in. Bronston, what do you got?
I'm going to do a special on 1,200 Pound Gorilla.
Oh, my God.
And it's going to be called The Giants. Follow me at Bronston Jones. Since this podcast is coming out way later, I guess there's no need to tell you that this Friday I'm going to be doing a show in my own hometown, like a little Norman Rockwell town called Yardley, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So you can go there and visit and say Bronston once lived here.
Bronston sent me.
And I'm in New York for a couple more weeks, and then the plan is to go back to Los Angeles, pick up my car, and then drive through Arizona, possibly do some dates in Phoenix, Tucson, maybe Bisbee, to go to Austin.
Nice.
So I may very well be there when you're there.
Very cool.
It's kind of the right area. So if you can just hook me up at the mothership, I'll take your spot.
You're going to take my spots?
Well, yeah, if you don't want them.
I absolutely want the mothership spots.
Yes, that place seems awesome.
It's rocks.
And then from there, I'm going to go up to Colorado. I might spend a month or two in Colorado, and then I'll figure out where the hell I'm going to live the rest of my life.
God, you're such a...
Maybe Europe. Maybe I'll go back to the UK. I used to go there all the time for
Really?
comedy. Yeah, I have way more fans in the UK than I do in the US.
I know that Prince Harry's getting cocky, isn't he?
Yeah. He married an American.
Yes.
And now he thinks he's one of us and not just some little.
He's not royalty anymore. You're part of our zeitgeist now.
Yeah, he's definitely not part of the royal family. Look at him. He's like a good-looking dude. Look at everybody. Look who his dad was supposed to be.
Well, we'll get into that after. Shannon, what do you got?
You can follow me on Instagram at ShannonLee6982. Listen to my podcast, The Thing Is Ding. We talk about bad dates, fighting, and ghosts. Wherever you listen to Mike Vecchione Investigates, you can also watch it live for free every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern at gasdigitalnetwork.com/live. gasdigital.com/live. That's absolutely free. The best way to support the show is to go to gasdigital.com, use promo code MVI. You'll get a 1-week free trial, which gives you access to every single episode of the show we've ever done, as well as every episode of every show on the Gas Digital Network, all for free for 1 week. If you listen on iTunes, YouTube, wherever you listen, make sure to rate, review, tell a friend, leave a comment, subscribe. Every little bit of interaction helps the show to grow. Go to merchengine.com for t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs. If you have a question, comment, or your own video investigation to submit, send it into MikeVecchioneInvestigates@gmail.com. That's it.
All right, let's do 3 articles real quick. Are you ready to do some investigating?
I thought she was going to do side effects also include.
I can try next time.
Are you ready to investigate? Yes or no?
Yes.
Stop dodging the question.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
I did it.
Topic number 1. Article. I refuse to give up my bus seat, so an elderly lady sat in my lap. Shannon, what's the dealio?
So this woman anonymously posted on Reddit, and she said that she has chronic illnesses that give her back and hip pain. So she never really takes the bus. She usually drives herself places because she's always in agony. So that's like she's defending herself. I don't know how old she is, though. So she was sitting on the bus. Then an old lady got on the bus and came up to her and was like giving her a mean look. And she's like, "Can I help you with something?" And the old lady is like, "You're obviously healthy and young. Like, you should give me this chair." And the woman like tried to explain to her that like she's not healthy even though she's young. And then after some back and forth of this woman getting more and more angry at her, she just sat on her lap. The old lady.
Was this an article or was this a Reddit post?
It's a Reddit post. When this is an article about a Reddit post.
This is an article. Stop trying to like.
Well, I'm investigating.
Yeah, no,
I'm investigating.
You're trashing the source. Our sources are confidential. New York Post. Our sources are confidential, Bronston. So you're attacking the source?
I'm investigating. I thought that's what we're supposed
We're
to
supposed
do.
to be investigating this topic. Now, what do you make of this? This old lady who has guts, by the way. It's a little thing we used to call in the 50s moxie. She confronts this younger woman who's, I guess, riddled with disease, Shannon.
Yeah.
And but they're probably fake diseases. What's that, Munchausen? That's Munchausen where you have a bunch of fake
If
diseases.
she's writing about it on Reddit, they're fake diseases. Because she's talking about her awesome car and her amazing life.
Right.
And then Rosa Parks comes in and can't sit. She's
Yeah.
setting the movement back. She's probably a MAGA because of that.
Well, why do we have to take this political? Can't it be just a person with a fake illness? She has a fake illness, Munchausen.
Fake news.
She's very serious about her fake illness. That's like me sitting in a handicapped seat and then an older woman coming up and being like, "Is there an issue? I need to sit down. I'm old." And I go, "I have high blood pressure." I do have high blood pressure, by the way. And that's a real legitimate. Is that enough of a disease to get a handicapped seat?
I think
My blood pressure is high.
they should bring out their medical charts. Like a physician should come in. This
Yeah.
could be a game show. Who is worse off?
Right. Maybe that's the way
That's
to
a
do it.
Hollywood in me. I'm already pitching ideas.
Yeah.
Let's get this
Should
lady.
you have an app on your phone with all of your ailments?
Yeah.
And to be like, and then you face off, and then the bus driver, he opens that cage that he has to sit in now because people assault the bus driver and they get 10 years in prison if you do that. But they sit in like a bulletproof glass, and then he gets to decide.
Yeah, but he can't leave that. He can't leave.
No,
that
well, he
box.
does it digitally, obviously.
Maybe the app. Hold on, we're also app developers because technology is where we're going. Is the apps can just look at each other and the phones can communicate,
Right.
so that you don't even have to see what diseases they have, but they can say this one trumps that one. It's like chess.
But do you think this woman is just like,
A bitch?
yeah, like she's exaggerating her own, like she could just get up and give the older woman is, what about respect for your elders? Do you subscribe to that at all?
I do have a question about that because sometimes you'll see somebody in a civil rights march and you're like, oh, that old person was probably there, but on the wrong side.
Right.
So just because somebody's old doesn't mean they're a good person.
It doesn't matter whether there's a good person or not. It just matters that there's a basic respect for your elders, like in Japan. Like in Japan?
Well, the Japanese people are way better than Americans.
Oh, I didn't know this was a Knock America Down on 9/11 podcast that we were having. Yeah, this isn't we're shooting this on 9/11. And you've just taken you've taken a shot at America. Do you want to look at where's his camera?
The Japanese.
Do you want to look at the camera and apologize?
Hold on. If this was December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, I would apologize. But the Japanese had nothing to do with 9/11.
They didn't have anything to do with 9/11.
Or did they?
Well, that's another article that we have to investigate.
We'll bring that up in the other room with Dave's podcast.
Yes. So I'm for this elderly lady, and I like the fact this elderly lady sat on this younger woman's lap, as if to say, and
That's a very skater move.
It is a skater move. I think Tony Hawk would approve. But
can you call him?
I'm gonna
call Bert, and Bert can call him.
No, I'll tweet at him. People respond to tweets.
He does
more. Anyway, sitting on an elderly woman sitting on a woman, do you think that brings people closer together? Could that be a thing where it's like, we're going to get to know each other and there's an initial conflict, but because this woman sat on top of another woman, that they become friends as the bus moves?
It depends.
Is it a thing where it's like nobody's going to flinch? I'm an older woman, I'm going to sit on a younger woman, she's not moving, I'm not moving, and then gradually there's a grudging respect there?
It's like a détente.
What?
Like the nuclear détente where everybody has enough nukes that nobody shoots them at each other.
Right. But there's a respect, and then because you're so close in proximity,
I like that
is there not an intimacy
I like
there?
that you just blasted straight through my depends joke about an old person.
I didn't know where you were going with it.
So I was just waiting. So apparently the depends worked, and it kept the joke inside.
Bronston, is there an intimacy that develops between two women sitting on each other's lap during a bus ride, yes or no?
I think sometimes conflict breeds friendship. It breeds respect.
I think
I respect you a lot more after this podcast.
Me too. We're sitting eye to eye close to each other, and I just wanted to trash your freewheeling giant lifestyle. Giants got crushed last night, by the way. And it's just
thanks to those phone books, we could see eye to eye.
I wanted to trash you, but I have a grudging respect, much like this elderly woman who sat on the lap of this young fake, young actress, acting like she has a bunch of diseases.
Yeah.
God, I like calling people out, don't you?
She probably has things like gluten allergies.
Yeah. Oh, I have a peanut allergy. Oh, I have to get off and vape. Ugh. Okay. I think it's solved. Shannon, what's the outcome? What happened? What happened?
So in this article, it stops at that the elderly lady sat on her lap, and then it just goes to people's responses to the original post. So I don't know what her reaction to this woman sitting on her lap was.
Wow. Okay, well,
I know what it was. I'm going to go home and Yelp about it.
Yeah. That was my reaction.
That's the kind of person who leaves reviews of comedy shows.
My reaction is defer to the elderly women. What's your reaction?
Stay off the bus.
Stay off the bus. Bus is for losers. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't have a home.
No, the bus is where I sleep.
You sleep on the bus?
Yeah.
Dear Abby, are men just dumb? Why is every man I meet either incapable of good conversation or sexually inept? Shannon, what's the deal?
I did enjoy this one.
I bet you did, Shannon. That's got Shannon written all over it.
Did you write this question?
Yes, I just left short out of it so Mike wouldn't get mad. Dear Abby, I'm a 57-year-old, attractive, single, childless woman. Why is it that the men I meet are just plain dumb? They have the conversational skills of 5-year-olds and are the same and have the same juvenile behavior. They're either emotionally unavailable and just want sex, or at the opposite end of the spectrum, available emotionally, but the sex is just okay. I cannot be the first woman to ask the question, are boys just dumb? And this is from Smarter Than I Think in Iowa.
Well, she's 57 in Iowa?
If she's 57, she's talking about boys.
Yeah.
and juveniles.
Yeah. And they just want sex at 57?
I think they should be investigating this woman.
Yeah, something doesn't sound right here.
Yeah.
She's in. First of all, move from Iowa. Yeah, nothing against Iowa. I love Iowa, and I'll be there in December. But there's not.
Should this lady?
It's not the most.
Can we reach out to her and have her?
I'm in a committed relationship, Bronston.
We can still comp her into the show. She can meet your fans, and your fans will be good conversationalists and possibly good at bed.
My fans are incels.
They won't be
Every
if she
one
shows
of them.
up.
Every single one of them is an incel.
If this whore shows up, fucks your whole crowd.
No. I say she needs to move from Iowa, and Iowa's a great place, but it's a family-orientated place.
Yes.
People have to get up early to work the land. They don't have time to satiate all of your needs and good conversation. The farmers don't like to have good conversation. They like to work on the crops, and they have to attend to the animals. They don't have time to talk. I'm talking at you, lady. They don't have time to talk to you and to meet all of your little needs, okay? And the guys who... It's a family-orientated place, Iowa. I've been there. Sorry, I got upset. But that's her problem. She needs to move to a more metropolitan area. What are your thoughts?
I like that some people she finds interesting in conversation, and then she brings them home to bed, and then finds them that they're unsatisfying.
Right.
And so I think perhaps it's her conversational skills that, like, she just wants the best of both worlds.
Right.
It's sort of like wanting the world handed to you and being small. You can't have both.
I understand that you're trying to burn me, but
It didn't
I'm going
work,
to
'cause I
stay.
actually
I'm going
kinda
to
did
stay
it
focused
backwards.
on the topic. How about find a guy who's good in bed and get a podcast? That way you can have the conversation and you can be satisfied.
Or
Get a machine that helps you, and then get a guy to talk to.
find a pen pal, since she's liking to write to Dear Abby.
Yes, and blabber. She's blabbing to Dear Abby.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
I think she just wants a good listen. She wants somebody to listen.
but she also wants somebody who's good in bed.
Yeah, but listeners aren't good in bed because why would they listen?
I know, it's really true.
You can't be dominated by somebody who listens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Listening is that's a beta.
Submissive.
It's a submissive quality. Listening. You want a guy who just takes it over, and then you say something. He goes, "Nope, not today."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Not today. We're fucking.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on yours.
You're allowed to do whatever you want. You're homeless.
Yeah,
You can do whatever you want to do.
I am a
You can eat out of the
libertarian now.
garbage if you want. You can urinate in the lobby. Apparently, there's no rules with your lifestyle, so do whatever it is you want to do, including not shaving or getting a haircut for 6 months. Next one. I'm a sex therapist. I sleep with clients to save marriages. Shannon, what is happening on this last one?
Okay, so here's just a little note here that this is a little bit of a clickbait title because she is a self-proclaimed sex therapist. And so she has been a sex worker for several years.
Okay.
And then she has a master's degree in education. So that's
So
what
do I.
You could be a sex therapist.
I could be a sex therapist. I have a master's degree in education, and I could use that in order to be a sex therapist
So what she
for
does,
people under 5'8".
I'll show you a picture. This is what she looks like if you want to see.
Oh,
Wow.
I would like to get educated.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So she, she's a
Oh,
fitness
there's a
model.
bathing suit.
Oh,
She
she's
looks
fit, like.
She's fitness.
So she works out like you
yeah,
do.
and she has sex with people to save their relationships. How's that work, Shannon?
So-
is it a
Dude, how many
three?
plates is that? How much weight is that?
I don't know.
6 plates here, but
That's 6 dinners for you.
Do you think she has a house I could live in?
I bet she does. She probably makes good money. So what she does is she meets with couples, and there's several different ways that she can go about this. She'll either sit with both members of the couple together, and then she will help to like demonstrate certain sex acts. She'll teach the guy how to do certain things. She can teach the girl how to do certain things. But then she'll also, if the woman allows, she'll meet with just the guy alone. She claims that like sometimes women just get disinterested in sex after a while, then that's what makes the man like unhappy in the relationship.
Right.
So she'll just kind of like bang him on the side so that the
Right.
woman isn't bothered with that and the woman trusts her. So there's like the different ways that she helps the couples.
That's very
Wow.
French. The French do that.
Yeah, do they?
They'll have like a paramour, which is somebody who's just like, so their wife takes care of the house and the kids and the finances, and then he has like a girlfriend that's just for banging because she doesn't want to do it.
Well, I hate to be the voice of reason here because you guys seem like you have it all figured out. But isn't sex like more than just an act? It's like a way of connecting to the person that you're having a life with.
It could be.
And then if you cut that connection, you kind of are severing, not that that's the only way to connect with your partner, but aren't you severing the ties, the connection, one of the main connections with your person that you're with?
I think the problem in American society is we're trying to make everybody our best friend, our best lover, our business partner, and everything else. And if you think about your best guy friend, you'd be like, well, he doesn't ski. I don't need to take him skiing.
Right.
You know, like he's still your best friend.
Right.
But you do skiing with other people.
Yeah.
And
there's a
so-
guy, if you drink and drive and then drive through a preschool, that's the guy you call. But
Yeah.
that's not your ski friend.
Yeah, that's a lawyer.
Right. You call a lawyer.
I see. I defer to you on this because I do not have a master's in education
Thank you for saying that.
or a relationship,
Right.
and you have both of those.
And a house. I
a house,
I
and
sleep
you-
indoors.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of. She didn't say where this took place. She didn't be like, I go to their house.
But do you see what's happening here? You're skewing me with short jokes, and I'm skewing you with homeless jokes. I've laid off the tall stuff because there's only so much I can because you're at an
Yeah,
advantage.
you couldn't
And
reach.
I couldn't. I'm dazed from that shot. That shot hit me right in the jaw. Okay. Getting up is easier when you're small.
Yes,
You're more resilient.
the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I know.
That's good. The Harder They Fall is my favorite book, by the way. Okay. So, yeah, this just seems... Shannon, do you have an opinion here? Women are allowed to have opinions now.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess like the way that like men's brains work.
Yeah,
Like I
male
understand like
brain.
some men sometimes, you know, they back this up by saying like men can, you know, have sex, be completely emotionally detached from it.
Yeah.
So if that's the only...
I actually do believe that. They can be emotionally detached
I
from
used
it.
to say it was like playing beach volleyball with people.
I don't know if it's that detached. You can be detached with it on a one-time, like in a random one-time situation. But like if you're having somebody as the designated person that has sex with your husband, eventually in a bond will form.
Do you
through-
think
unless both people are sociopaths?
Do you think that the wife would get more upset by the fact that her husband is having sex with her, or the fact that she's getting paid and gets to leave without listening to his bullshit?
Maybe both. But at that point, like, you're all the way gone. It's like we shouldn't even be together at this point because I value nothing. I don't want the sex. I don't want to hear it from you. It's like, why not just live on your own at that point?
Because of the kids. People try and
I know, but you
salvage
can
for
drop the kids
children.
off at McDonald's. Everybody always does that. That's the meeting place. That's the national meeting. McDonald's used to be a great restaurant, but since the divorce rate has elevated, that's the place where you drop the kids off. You pick the closest McDonald's.
Do you
And,
do you think that the downfall of marriages is because of society breaking down, or the fact that there's just more McDonald's?
There's probably more McDonald's. There's more places to drop the kids off.
They were like, we had to stay together for the kids, but they just put it in a McDonald's, so now we can finally be free and happy.
Exactly. I think we solved everything we've attacked. I don't know what else you guys want from this podcast. There was good conversation. There was journalism. There was people who were at each other's throats, a taller person and a shorter person. With Shannon, my trusted, loyal confidant, flipping sides because of heightism. We've had everything. We attacked articles, what was going on. We got personal. We became detached. I had to use the bathroom. You guys didn't know about it. I'm ratting myself out because I have a smaller bladder, because smaller people have smaller bladders. I just burned myself.
Do they have a kiddie toilet here?
Things got emotional. Things cooled off. Bronston and myself were at each other's throats, and then it cooled to a grudging respect. So if you don't love this, I don't know what podcast you guys want. Thank you so much for joining us, though, and I appreciate you guys. I'd like to thank my guest, Bronston Jones, my old friend from the West Coast.
I want to thank you for having
And
me.
thank you for coming on, and thank you for staying late.
Thank you for giving me
I
a
promised
roof.
you an hour.
It's raining.
And it's been 26, and it is raining outside.
So this is a nice place.
That's
for
like a
me.
nightmare for you.
That's why I'm glad to be in here.
Well, you're welcome. And for Shannon, for Bronston, I'm Mike Vecchione. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Guys, thank you for listening to Mike Vecchione Investigates. And if you go to gasdigitalnetwork.com and use promo code MBI, you will get 1 week free. That's gasdigitalnetwork.com, promo code MBI, you will get 1 week free. Thank you again for listening to Mike Vecchione Investigates on the Gas Digital Network.